90% of schools in India are misunderstanding NEP 2020. And I'm not saying this casually, I'm saying this after actually observing how schools are functioning. Most school leaders think NEP means new books, a new syllabus, or adding a few activities in class. But that's not NEP. NEP is not a content change, it is a mindset change. And this is where most schools are getting it wrong. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Earlier, our education system was focused on completing the syllabus, finishing the notebook, and preparing students for exam. So the classrooms look like this. Teacher explains, students listen, students memorize, and then reproduce in exams. Now NEP is saying something completely different. It is saying don't focus on what you teach. Focus on what the child understands. That is a big shift. NEP talks about something called competency-based learning, which means can the child apply what they have learned? Can they think? Can they solve real life problems? But let's be honest. Go into most classrooms today, students are still copying from the board, memorizing answers, and preparing for exams in the same old way. So even if a school says we have implemented NEP, the real question is, have you changed how children learn? Because if learning has not changed, NEP is not implemented. Let me give you an example. If a child studies a chapter on fractions, earlier we would ask define fraction, write examples, solve questions. Now NEP expects, can the child use fractions in real life? Can they understand sharing, dividing, comparing? If that is not happening, then honestly nothing has changed. And this is where leadership becomes very important, because NEP cannot be implemented by just telling teachers do activity based learning. That doesn't work. Teachers need training, classroom observation needs to change, questioning techniques needs to change, and most importantly leaders need to understand what NEP actually means. Right now many schools are doing surface level changes, smart boards, activities, new books, but the core classroom remains the same, and that's the uncomfortable. If you really want to implement NEP in your school, start with this. Stop asking have we completed the syllabus, start asking have students understood the concept? Because NEP is not about finishing chapters, it is about building thinking. And unless that shift happens at the leadership level, NEP will remain just a document in yours. In this series, I'm going to break down NEP 2020 in the simplest possible way so that you can actually apply it in your school. Because understanding NEP is easy, implementing it, that's where real leadership comes in. In the next video, I will explain what competency-based learning actually means and why most teachers are struggling with it.